So, if you go to the NFL, are you now done with college? That was always the case. If you wound up signing an NFL contract, you could not return to college. Well, it looks like we got a new loophole because LSU may get not one, not two, but three players who played at Ole Miss last year for Lane Kiffin, who may go to LSU and be eligible to play right now. These are guys who have been drafted, who have been signed to NFL rosters. A court has said, hey, they get a fifth year. A federal judge has said, no, they don't. But the judge ruling in the court case for the state seems to be overriding. It's complicated, but so is college sports right now. Welcome to a Monday. It's Pushing the Odds.
It's time! And now, introducing your host, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Boston, Massachusetts, presenting live from the world-famous Las Vegas Strip. It's Pushing the Odds.
For guys like me, Las Vegas washes away your sins. It's like a morality car wash. Back home, they would have put me in jail for what I'm doing. But out here, they're giving me awards.
Here he is, Matt Perrault.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show.
What's up, Brigade? Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome to a Monday episode of Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault, being brought to you by BetCris Arizona. We today will talk a variety of things going on in the sports world. We've got NFL and college football at the top. The first being obviously LSU and what is going on with Lane Kiffin and this really interesting Machiavellian type of move to go and say, hey, go to the NFL, go sign a couple of contracts with the NFL, but then we're going to do a class action lawsuit that states, hey, you know what? You didn't get that fifth year. You should be eligible for a fifth year. And if that's the case, you should wind up having an opportunity to play college football this year. It's kind of a crazy thought, but it looks like that's where we are headed with three players for LSU and a bunch of other ones, plus a college case for college basketball that could wind up even more furthering this, where NBA players might be now eligible to go back to college basketball. It doesn't make a lick of sense. We'll get into it during the opening line. Deshaun Watson has been named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. They play their first two games on the road, their home opener. Well, in week 3, if they're 0-2, and Deshaun Watson is the quarterback, it's going to be awkward after the comments made by Deshaun Watson over the weekend, essentially going to war with his own fan base, which was quite an interesting decision by him. Our team of the day brought to you by Circa Sports. We're into the college, folks. Ohio State is our team of the day today as we head to Vegas. Now, remember, we are off tomorrow and Wednesday for the show. All right, no show tomorrow and Wednesday as we head to Vegas for the Ultimate Football Contest weekend. Live Thursday, live Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. A litany of guests. Jeffrey Benson will join us. Yes, the one and only Derek Stevens will join us. Yes, we will talk to Adam Bjorn and others Thursday and Friday. It is all football. It is all contest. It's Survivor. It's Million. It's Grandissimo. All at Circa coming at you for 2 days on Thursday and Friday. Really, really excited to get over there, to get back to Vegas, and to get after it at Circa for a couple of days and a couple of nights. So that's all happening. Speaking of Circa, okay, at the top, before we do anything else, it is the final clue before we get to Circa. We've been doing this for 5 weeks. And as we get to Circa, if we have more than one person left in our contest, we will pick names out of a hat. I will have Derek Stevens do it live on the air with us for the Circa Million entry that I will be signing us up for. you will get either 3 picks a week or 4 picks a week, and we're splitting the money 50-50. Look, I did this with the Daily Juice with a group bet. I think we went 1-18, okay? So that's the bar. The bar is 1-18 when it comes to picks. I will pick 1 game or 2 games a week. You can tell me what you would like. If you feel froggy and you want all 4, we're not switching up, okay? That's what you're going to pick. You're going to pick 4 a week. If you want 3, I'll pick 2 games a week. You pick 3 games a week, and we'll see how we do. We will split the money 50-50. There are 5 people left here in this contest. At the top of the show, here is the question. Do not write this in the chat. Do not put this on the Discord. If you are an OG, you're going to know the answer relatively quick. All right? But here is the question, the final clue to see who is going to wind up being with me for our Circa Millions entry. What state did I get pulled over in for speeding? I was doing over 100 miles an hour in that state, but I was let go when I told the police officer where I was coming back from. Okay? What was I coming back from that got me out of a speeding ticket that I was going over 100 miles an hour? You must name the state. Okay? There is no ambiguity here. You must name the state. You have till tomorrow at 11 a.m. to find out the answer to this. openinglinemedia@gmail.com. This is some deep dive stuff. You're going to have been with us for a long time. There is nowhere to find this on Instagram. There's nowhere to find this on the internet, really. You're going to have to either think or listen or figure it out. But if you are a long time Pushing the Odds or BVB listener, audience member, brigade member, you'll probably be able to get that. If only one of you gets it, you're the winner. If everyone misses or everyone gets it, we'll see what we wind up left coming up for how many names are in the hat come Thursday when we will pick the winner of the contest to see who will be with me for our Circa Millions contest entry. We will pick it out of a hat coming up here on Thursday, live from Circa for our Circa Millions giveaway. Very cool stuff. If you check the lid, we have another state to dab. It is Rhode Island. This comes from Chef Benny. These are the Gulls. Look at the hat. The Newport Gulls. 8-time New England college baseball champion. The Newport Gulls. I stayed across the street in Newport from their ballpark. I don't know if that was intentional or not by Chef Benny. He may be that good, or maybe we're just that simpatico in terms of how we are on a wavelength. But he sent me this. Newport Gulls dabs the map for us for Rhode Island. We're going to have more, okay? I have decided to do this. We're going to have that map. It was going to be the end of the summer. I'm going to elongate this until the end of the World Series. So that gives us the rest of August, the entire month of September, and October in the postseason into like almost Thanksgiving. Gives us like 2 months left to see how many states we can get into for the minor league baseball cap. So again, here are the states we have. We got California, Nebraska, Indiana, North and South Carolina, Virginia, and Rhode Island now have been represented by a minor league team. It doesn't matter what level of minor league baseball. If they have a hat and you want to send it to me, you can go ahead and do that. The email address, openinglinemedia@gmail.com, works for everything, okay? Go ahead and send it in. Say, Matt, we want to do this. So Chef Benny took care of me. I appreciate all of you who want to do that. I'll give you the mailing address to send it to me, and we'll wear it on the air and give some love to this week, today, the Newport Gulls. Last week, it was the Omaha Storm Chasers, the AAA affiliate of the KC Royals. This week, it's a New England college baseball, the Newport Gulls. Sweet lid, by the way. This is. I love the lid. The color pops. Looks great on camera. Great job out of Chef Benny. One more piece of business before the opening line. Mark and Frank, 2 brothers who have been great sponsors of ours with Rabbit, okay? If you haven't used Rabbit, these are great Chicago guys. They are raising money for the Ronald McDonald House by running the Chicago Marathon. Now, if you don't know the history with me and the Ronald McDonald House charities, let me quickly remind or at least quickly educate some new people.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan has to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You know, the dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, you know, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Now, if you don't know the history with me and the Ronald McDonald House charities, let me quickly remind, or at least quickly educate some new people. If you guys are a recruit, you may not know the story. When my daughter was 6 months old and we were living in Houston, Texas, I was working like weekends and nights. I was working kind of like a weird shift. I was doing a lot of sales for, at the time, Yahoo Sports Radio. They had hired me to move me from Boston down to Houston. My daughter was 6 months old when we moved down. I had been working for the company for, I don't know, a month and a half or so. I had just started and I was just getting my feet wet. And they put me on afternoon drive in Houston. I went on afternoon drive in Houston, Texas. Massive market, huge fill-in opportunity. While I was on the air, I got a text message from my now ex-wife, but our daughter had been sick and I had taken my daughter to a hospital to be checked out, in which the person that was watching or evaluating my daughter said, "We don't do peds here. Let's get you to a hospital that does pediatric to make sure," because she looks a little bit, her lungs were working pretty hard. So I went to a pediatric hospital, and at the pediatric hospital, they said, "Look, everything is fine, except we're a little concerned. We're going to send her to Houston." I was living in Sugar Land, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston, but Houston's medical district is the best, top two in the country, right? Boston and Houston, two best. Said, "We're going to go ahead and be a little cautious here, and we're going to take your daughter via ambulance to Children's Hospital in Houston." And I was like, okay, like it's nothing to worry about. So Madeline's mom showed up and I was like, "I got to go to work. Is it okay if I go to work?" They're like, yeah, go to work. It's not a big deal. She's going to be fine. This is overly precautious, right? At every step of the way, it was about being overly precautious. So I go on the air, okay? And literally 5 minutes into the shift, I get a text message from Madeline's mom telling me that Madeline's lung has collapsed and that she's being rushed into the ICU for basically being incubated because she's not breathing on her own. And for the next 6 days, my daughter did not breathe on her own. She was breathing with a breathing machine. She was not conscious. She was incubated. And it was the hardest 6 days of my entire life. I carry around the picture of my daughter in the ICU, how pissed off she was and fiery, because that In her nature, that is who my daughter is. She is a spitfire type personality and soul. And she fought, and she wasn't going anywhere. She was not getting taken out by a virus. That was not going to take my kid out. But I slept for free for 7 nights next to my daughter, about probably 100 yards from my daughter, thanks to the Ronald McDonald House Charities. And I didn't pay a dime. They fed me, they clothed me, they let me shower, and I didn't pay a single dime. And I said for the rest of my career, whenever I have a chance to raise money for the Ronald McDonald Charities, I'm going to do it. So when Mark and Frank told me that they would be running the Chicago bleeping marathon to raise money for the Ronald McDonald House, and their goals are relatively modest, and I was like, you know what? The brigade, we're good. We're going to do this. So here are 2 QR codes for Frank and Mark to help raise money to go 100% to the Ronald McDonald House while these 2 guys in October run the Chicago Marathon, which is going to be bonkers. I couldn't imagine running a marathon, any marathon. 26.2 miles is ridiculous. So if you have an opportunity to help these guys raise money, we have not done a fundraiser in a while here on the show, and I cannot think of a better one to get involved with because of the Ronald McDonald charity angle and how emotional I get talking about what happened to my daughter when she was 6 months. She's now 12 years old. Is she dealing with some lung issues? Yes. She had a 75% chance of developing asthma. She has developed asthma. She has sports-induced asthma, which, okay, it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. She has inhalers and she has breathing techniques to help her when she does have issues with her lungs. But the folks at the Children's Hospital in Houston saved my daughter's life. And if her lung had collapsed and she wasn't in the hospital, we don't know what the long-term issues would have been. A collapsed lung for a 6-month-old baby is a big damn deal. So I will always be incredibly thankful to the doctors, to the nurses, to everybody at Children's Hospital in Houston for saving my daughter's life. And then equally for Ronald McDonald House and the charities that they represent for families who are dealing with sick children. There is nothing. And the PTSD that I still have to this day affects me every day. I mean, it affects me as being a father. It affects me as being a man. It affects me as a human. The level of anxiety and stress that I went through during that week that felt like the longest week of my life. She spent 16 days in the ICU, in the NICU unit at Children's Hospital. 6 days not breathing on her own. And that was insane. That was just, I can't get over. I can't explain to you what that was like. And I didn't think about where I was sleeping. I didn't think about what I was eating. I didn't think about showering, changing, any of that stuff. The folks at the Ronald McDonald House said, we got you. Go take care of your kid. And so now if I have a chance to help them raise money in any form or fashion, I want to go ahead and do that as much as possible. So very, very much interested in helping these guys raise some money. Once again, you can pull your phones out, QR code for either one, for Mark or Frank, to raise money. That money is 100% going to the Ronald McDonald House charities as these guys run the October Chicago Marathon. So we got some time, but we're going to help these guys raise as much money as possible for Ronald McDonald House, and while they can feel the burn of running a 26.2 mile run. That is something else. Best of luck with training for Mark and Frank. We'll check in on their training coming up here in a couple of weeks for those guys. But I want to definitely get that on the show as quickly as possible once they told me they were doing that. So let's raise some money for a really good cause and for 2 really good guys, sponsors of Pushing the Odds. Let's open it up with the opening line. LSU, what is going on? They're getting NFL players now. All right, for the longest time, I'm 49 years old, that when you signed a professional contract to go play either in the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, when you signed a top-of-the-line, top-tier contract, your eligibility in college was over. That's it. It's over. Well, Not so fast. As we learned yesterday, there may be a pretty big loophole. The Browns waived tight end Dae'Quan Wright on Sunday. He will clear waivers. This is his second NFL team that he is on. So he will clear waivers. And there is a deal in place with Lane Kiffin to bring Wright back to college sports. Wright had previously played 4 years at Ole Miss before entering the NFL draft. He did go undrafted, but now he could become the first player to be on an NFL roster and then go back to college football. How did this happen? Well, it happened because he was part of a lawsuit in Louisiana by 3 players from Ole Miss, headlined by Jack Clyburn, who is a former LSU edge rusher, who is trying to go back to college. The players argued that they're ineligible under the old rules, but they would be eligible under the new rules, which gives a player a 5th-year option of eligibility. They should not be punished simply because the change came after their college careers ended. And wouldn't you know it, a judge in Louisiana agreed that these players should get a 5th year and that there is a special week-long transfer portal for these players that want to go back to college who have been part of NFL rosters to say, hey, you know what? You're okay. What was the biggest hook to this was the judge also barred the NCAA from enforcing its own ban on players returning to college after signing a professional contract. This was orchestrated by LSU, by Lane Kiffin, in the right judge, in the right courtroom to get this to happen. And the fallout from this is going to be loud. There are a lot of people who are really angry about this, but I don't think this is a long-term deal. Okay, this doesn't feel like this is everyone, that the floodgates open, that we're going to have just a ridiculous, horrific run of players signing contracts with the NFL to only go back to college. I don't think this is going to happen. The 10th Circuit of Appeals granted the NCAA a stay on Friday morning in order that reversed the judge's decision that it opened the door for all athletes starting in the 22-23 academic year and had played for 4 consecutive seasons to return for a 5th. But that stay does not wipe out the cases of dozens of athletes who have successfully petitioned restraining orders to play a fifth year in state courts around the country. So that is the problem. But it also puts this shield over the sport for the long term. Will we see a college player who has gone to an NFL camp, training camp, play this year in college football? Yes. Is that LSU just gaining the system? Yes. That's LSU playing dirty, but also just being smarter than everyone else. It's not a surprise it's happened in the SEC. I mean, this is just the way it works down there. They find loopholes and they find different ways to get the players that they want. There is a ton riding on Lane Kiffin and LSU being successful this year. Lane Kiffin believes they can win a national championship this year. Think about all the bad blood that guy created at Ole Miss and around the SEC when he left a playoff team to go take the LSU job. He had a team in the playoffs and he left. So if he could go to LSU and win a national championship in year number 1, well, then everything is quiet, right? There are no negative thoughts as to what did you do? Why did you do it? What type of man are you? Why would you do this? So I think there is a ton riding on the first year of LSU. Having a judge go ahead and okay this isn't surprising to me, in particular because it happened in Louisiana, where these players are going to wind up going. They're all going to go back. 3 big name players, headlined by Wright, they're going to go back. These might not be NFL players, right? They may not be good enough to make an NFL roster, but they are extremely talented college football players, and they've been in college for a long time. These are men. These are men going back to college who now have had a taste of what the NFL looks like. And I heard Mike Vrabel this morning on Boston Media say, just because you pay players more money doesn't mean there's more jobs in the NFL. So this is going to be a problem for a long time, that these players who go and get drafted in the 5th, 6th, 7th, undrafted free agents, they get brought in to play in the NFL, and they have to unseat somebody to take their job for them to have an NFL job. And it's really hard to make a roster in the NFL. And so you have all these college players at the final cutdown day who are now all available, who now don't know what to do. So if I can make $500,000 in NIL money to go back to college, why wouldn't I just do that? Why wouldn't I go back to college if I can?
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS, but then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Let's talk what happened this weekend, because the Browns have a story, man. All right, what happened last night? What happened this weekend? Deshaun Watson decided to go after his own fans over the weekend after being booed in the preseason home opener in Cleveland. Today, he was named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. This shouldn't be a surprise. Deshaun Watson is right now uncuttable. Deshaun Watson, if the Browns were to cut him, his cap hit for 2027 would be $86 million. The highest cap ever hit, ever taken down, was the Dolphins with Tua when they took a $54 million hit. This is 1.5 or more, 1.6, whatever, times bigger than that if they were to cut Deshaun Watson. But it feels like Deshaun Watson's doing everything in his power to get cut. Because after the game, he was asked about being booed by the fans. And he said, quote, "It has nothing to do with the performance." He's been an awful quarterback, by the way. "It's a little bit more personal than that." Oh, I wonder what the personal thing is, Deshaun. "It's a disrespectful thing. Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles, and that same fan base cheered when I got hurt." So he's trying to make it out that the Browns fans, that somehow Cleveland fans are to blame. That Cleveland fans, this is a Cleveland problem. You know, these are mean fans. This man was accused by dozens of women of doing horrific things. This man was traded from Houston to Cleveland and then given a contract extension in what is now the worst trade in the history of the NFL. What the compensation was that Houston got, what the contract the Browns handed over to Deshaun Watson, and the fans cheering when you got hurt was a reflection of you, Watson, not the fans, not the Browns. I find it very hard to feel bad about the fans deciding that they hate Deshaun Watson. Now, the first two games for Cleveland are on the road. They go at the Jags and at the Bucks. How these two games go will dictate a lot as to what the environment's going to be when Deshaun Watson is the quarterback, if he's healthy, for the Browns when they have their home opener in week number 3. If they're 2-0 and look, going to Jacksonville and to Tampa and coming away with wins in Florida during the month of September would be amazing. It would be amazing if they were to go 2-0. It's highly unlikely. It's far more likely that Cleveland winds up 2-0. Sorry, 0-2 than 2-0. And so they will be 0-2 when they come back home for the home opener with Deshaun Watson as the starting quarterback when they face the Panthers. Here's the problem, and I do kind of agree with this. JPC says, Deshaun's a donkey, but I do like that he's gone full heel. I think there is something to be said about this, because take the WWE mentality to this. This guy is never going to be liked. Somehow he convinced a woman to marry him. Somehow this guy, he has more money. He's making over $40 million a year guaranteed. I mean, he doesn't have to apologize to anyone. He is a free man. He did not go to jail for what he did. He was suspended for 11 games by the NFL for what he did, but he didn't go to jail for what he did. It was a civil matter that he had to write big checks, but when you're making $45 million a year, you can afford it. You can afford to pay out what you have to pay out for being a disgusting human being. So why not embrace it? Like, I think there's something to that. Like, just own it. Like, just own the fact that you're the starting quarterback. The Browns have no way out of your contract. They cannot cut you. Nobody's trading for you. So you're the starting quarterback of an NFL football team. There are 32 jobs in the world that let you start for a team in the NFL, and you have one of them. Just go play. I mean, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm just like, bring it. Like, okay, bring it. I'm not sure I say what he said over the weekend. I'm not sure if I call out the fact that they booed him, that fan base cheered when I got hurt. I'm not so sure I would have done this. Like, this is a little bit on the inflammatory side. But again, if you want to go full heel, go full heel. Call out everything. Our franchise sucks. Our team's been awful. I am the best thing that happened to this franchise. You all know it. When you traded for me, you were celebrating. The owner went out of his way to be there at the press conference to go ahead and put a flag down and say, I am hiring this man. I'm giving him a ton of money because I believe that Deshaun Watson's talents are going to take Cleveland to the promised land. I would go full heel. I would just straight up call out the history, call out the fans, call out the city, do everything. Like, just become the most hated man in the market because they can't cut you. I mean, there are people on Twitter that I follow that I really do respect a lot, and I respect their opinions a lot, who have looked at the contract for Deshaun Watson, and they have said it's the most unique thing in sports. It's the most unique thing in the NFL. Andrew Brandt, who is a longtime NFL sports lawyer, contract lawyer, said, quote, as I've said many times, he, Deshaun Watson, may have the only contract in NFL history that has been and still is uncuttable and untradeable. Current dead cap hit would be $127 million this year and next year to cut Deshaun Watson. $127 million. Like, just own it. If I'm Deshaun Watson, just own it. You're the starting quarterback. The reason why he's the starting quarterback, by the way, I think that's getting missed here a little bit. People are like, why isn't it Shedeur Sanders? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm not sure Shedeur is better than Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun being bad is the point. That's the point. They have to play for 28. That's what they're playing for when the contract is gone. I read a big thing yesterday. They cannot cut him until April of 2028. Okay? Like, once they get to the league year in 28, they can cut him. They can't cut him this year. They can't cut him next year, but they can cut him after next year. So the idea is to just own it, tank, get Arch Manning, which the owner, Jimmy Haslam, wants. Get Arch Manning with the number 1 pick in the draft, and then you can have him sit behind Deshaun Watson for a year, and then Deshaun's gone, and it's second-year quarterback, Arch Manning, or whomever you want to call it, to be the next quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. That's the play. Cleveland does not want to win this year. Cleveland wants to lose. Thus, they traded Myles Garrett to the Rams. So everyone's going to fade Cleveland. Everyone's going to bet against Cleveland. I mean, they're going to be one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the NFL. I think Arizona has a shot to be better than them, to be quite honest. But I think you could have a 1 or a 2-win football team in Cleveland, and they would be perfectly happy with that to happen. Like, they want that to happen. So this contract is so awful that they have no choice but to lose, not just this year, but next year as well. Todd Monken's coming in going like, okay, my job is to do what? Lose. That's your job. Lose. Do not win. Lose. Okay, so you want me to start Deshaun? Yep. Put Watson in. So if he goes out there and plays well, if he goes out there and actually looks competent, that's the best revenge you could have. But brutal. This whole situation is absolutely brutal right now when you look at it from a big picture perspective. And if you're a Browns fan, I do feel for you guys. I mean, I think it stinks. I think it's just such a bummer situation right now on so many levels. Time for our team of the day. It is the Texas. Oh, sorry. It's Ohio State. Sorry. It's Ohio State. I forgot to change that. Ohio State, our Circa Sports team of the day. They are right now plus 675 to win the national championship. They are plus 205 to win the Big Ten. The Buckeyes enter this year just with insane talent. Okay. This team has a very interesting schedule. Ball State's a layup. They'll win it right away. Then they play at Texas. We're going to know right away how good Texas is, how good Ohio State is. If the Buckeyes are going to walk in there with Julian Saying at the quarterback and handle the environment in Austin and beat Texas like I think that they're going to, this team won't have a tough game until they get to Indiana on the road on October the 17th. They will roll through everyone. Sorry, Iowa. They're rolling, okay? So then they get to Indiana, USC, and Oregon. There is only a 3-game stretch where I think they could really be tested, and they might lose 1 or 2 games. I don't buy Michigan this year, and I have been a pretty big supporter of Michigan, and I've liked Bryce Underwood. I don't love Michigan this year against this Ohio State team. I think it's going to be tough. It's at home for Ohio State. I think that's asking a lot for Michigan. They're going to boat race Nebraska. Nebraska's schedule is so easy, except for this game. They're going to get crushed. They'll beat Northwestern. Indiana, USC, Oregon. That is where we'll go schedule-wise for Ohio State. That should say 26. It says 25. I apologize. It should say 26. But Buckeyes are going to be really good. They're going to be really, really good. I mean, the Buckeyes are going to lose their second game. I mean, Chris, our resident Texas fan, I love the optimism. I love that you're here, just going pure horns. I'll give it to you. Okay. I mean, you're going to be able to talk until you get to the second week. And when we get to the second week of the season, we'll see. I don't think you guys beat Ohio State. I just don't. I think you've got such an incredible talent level with Ohio State that they're going to be confident. They're going to be rolling. And I just don't buy Steve Sarkisian in that situation. I mean, Ryan Day, I'm not the biggest Ryan Day fan either, but think when you win a national championship, and I think when you have the players coming back that he has, Texas is going to be good. But I think you're just asking for a lot here to step in and say, okay, we're going to see Bo Jackson and Jeremiah Smith both coming back for Ohio State, Julian Sain coming back for Ohio State, and that Texas's defense is going to have enough to stop Ohio State. I just don't think that they do. And that Buckeye defense is going to be ridiculous. Like that Buckeye defense is, Sonny Styles. I mean, they've got talent. Look at the players they put in the league every single year, right? Guys that get drafted. Sonny Styles is going to walk into an NFL team and play right away. So like that's, I don't know. I don't think Texas handles Ohio State. I think Ohio State beats them. And then I think you got to run here. Again, there are 3 tough games for the Buckeyes, and it goes, and Texas will be a tough game, but the part of the schedule with Indiana, USC, and Oregon, that stretch, that'll tell us everything we need to know about Ohio State. But it's why they're plus 675 to win it all. It's why they're the odds-on favorite to win the Big Ten. On paper, Ohio State's the best team in the country. And I don't think it's very close, to be quite honest, in terms of on paper. We got to go play the games and see what happens, right? But going into the year, I'm not really listening to anybody else that says that somebody else is the best team in the country. Like, no, I'm sorry. That's there. Chris, you can throw every stat you want at me, and I'm going to throw everything back at you because you guys lose on the road, period. So you can say you're going to win week 2 because you're there at home, okay? But it's not like the Buckeyes haven't played on the road before, okay? It's not like Ohio State can't play on the road. And you guys have gone into non-conference games with Sarkisian, and it hasn't gone well, okay? So, again, my issue with Texas, is your road games. So if you lose week 2, you're losing 3 games. If you beat Ohio State in week 2, you lose 2 games minimum. You might lose 3, but you're losing 2 games minimum. I'm not trusting Arch Manning. I'm not trusting Sarkisian. And the road games are rough. The road games for your team are rough. And it's rough. Every Texas fan can talk about all you want. You know in the back of your mind, you have an unproven quarterback and an unproven head coach in key big football games. You haven't done it yet. And Texas rides this, what we used to be. Mac Brown and Vince Young are not walking through the door. They're not playing for you. Recent history for Texas is all the hype in the world, all the money you could ask for, and not delivering when it matters. So until that happens, until Texas does it, I'll take Ohio State. I'll take the team that's done it. I'll take the team that's been there, has shown up, has won, has dominated, and has as much money as you do, by the way. Like, it's not like the Buckeyes are lacking for funds. We're going to be in Vegas coming up on Thursday for the Ultimate Football Contest weekend. Looking forward to getting after everything with Circa, having the opportunity, talking about Survivor, which should be, we might get to the guarantee for Ultimate Football Contest weekend. It's crazy. The number is being put up. If that were to happen, that'd be unreal, because that means we probably get into 30 million if that were to happen. Circa million with a $6 million guarantee. $1 million first place prize. I'm going to talk about this for the entire week. I'm going to talk about this contest. I'm not having just one entry. I'm having 2 entries in this contest. I think this contest is awesome. Survivor is great, but Survivor is way more difficult than people think. I want 5 games a week. I want a chance to get hot for 4 weeks in a row and finish in the money. And sure, I'm not taking down $1 million, or I'm not taking down, 25 million, whatever we take down for Survivor. But it is a chance to actually cash. It is a chance to actually match wits. And you're not going to have 6,000 entries. They're not going to get that, guys. There's going to be an overlay in Circa Million. If you're thinking about a contest this year, Circa Million is going to be awesome. And then Grandissimo is a $100,000 entry for Survivor. No rake in any contest. Remember, if they go over the guarantees, they go right back into the prize pool. You must be in Nevada to sign up, but you can hire a proxy from wherever you might be, and then you can play from anywhere. For more information, go to circasports.com. The pro football story of the day Being brought to you by VegasFootballProxy.com, our friends who can be your proxy service if you were to need one here, is in Vegas. Everybody who had done their fantasy football draft before last night got a massive scare because reports were everywhere that Ashton Genty had
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS, but then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
You know, the dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, you know, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to have a fun race going on between the Phillies and the Braves for the National League East. I thought that was kind of over. No, that race is not over. The Phillies are 100% alive to catch them, to join that. And I can't wait to see how that all shakes out, because there's a lot of really cool things happening right now in Major League Baseball that I think once we get to September, we'll pay attention a bit more. I can't get over what these last 2 weeks have been like. I think I always knew that people went on vacation, but the number of people who are out of the office last week and this week heading into the Labor Day weekend is remarkable to me. Like, there are so many people who have taken these 2 weeks off, and they say, when I've talked to people like, oh, what's going on? It's because, well, normally Labor Day, these 2 weeks normally run into Labor Day, but because Labor Day is a week later than normal this year, folks are saying, you know what? We always take these 2 weeks off, so we're taking these 2 weeks off. It has created the dog days of summer. I mean, I'm talking to sports betting friends of mine. I'm talking to sports friends of mine who are all just like, yeah, this is a really weird time right now. Like, no one's around. The books are all, it's sort of a weird, it's a vacation time for a lot of the books. So the numbers are all kind of wonky. Like, everything is all over the place. So there's a lot of weirdness going on. And I couldn't be colder betting. I mean, I couldn't have been older. I mean, it couldn't be colder right now betting baseball, betting anything. I've missed my last 11 bets on the Daily Juice. That's how bad I've been. Awful. And like, people have been writing me notes saying, like, you're not the only one. There's a lot of people out there who are having a really tough time seeing the board right now, because it's a very wonky period, very strange time in Major League Baseball. It's just different. And so the Phillies have won 9 straight. No, people aren't really talking about how good they have been. The Red Sox have played 750 baseball for 2 months now. 750 baseball for 2 months. The Red Sox have been playing, and no one's really talking about them. The Yankees, I mean, are they going to win 90 games? I bet them at the All-Star break that they would not win 91 games. I bet under 90 and a half. They're on pace to come up with like 87, 88 wins, which is unbelievable, because that's the pace the Red Sox are on right now, for the Red Sox to win 87, 88 games, which is stunning given where they have been. 71-59 Boston, 74-56 Yankees. But it looks like Stanton's not coming back for the Yankees. The Red Sox are probably going to get Crochet in the bullpen at some point in September as a bullpen arm to help them. But they've got Suarez and Sonny Gray and these kids who have come up and pitched so well. Aroldis Chapman didn't get traded. He's still in there throwing gas in the ninth inning. Red Sox still have a legitimate closer. It's crazy to look at this, but they're running. I mean, they're running right now. Red Sox are running. Phillies are running. It's all pretty darn impressive. We haven't done a news of the industry in a while, and there was an interesting tie-in last week that I skipped over, going back to our Matthew Boyer conversation and our Shohei Ohtani conversation. We got some interesting news of the industry. All right, news of the industry, and this comes from Vegas, where the Nevada Gaming Commission approved a $7.2 million fine. It's a settlement, but it's a fine against the Venetian. They voted 3-0 in favor of it. The settlement stems over the casino's decision to allow Matthew Boyer to gamble heavily without properly verifying his sources of funds. There were two abstentions. Boyer is the bookmaker who handled $325 million in illegal sports wagers from Ohtani's interpreter. We had Matthew Boyer on the program to talk about it. This is the fifth major casino in Vegas to be hit for allowing Matthew Boyer to bet at their property. Caesars got a $7.8 million fine. MGM Grand got an $8.5 million fine. Resorts World got the big one of $10.5, Wynn with $5.5, and now the Venetian comes in at $7.5 million from a fine for taking the bets for Matthew Boyer, which when he joined us on the show, you heard from him talking about, okay, I know what I did was wrong. I know I was using money to lay it off or go bet, but these casinos did not ask where the money was coming from. They just took the money. And thus, by taking the money, the know your customer went out the window when it came to how much money Matthew Boyer was putting into the cage. So he was like, I don't feel bad for these books. I don't feel bad for these people. It stinks that people lost their job, but the books were making a lot of money. The casino properties were making a lot of money for a very long time. And thus taking the fine, so be it. They'll handle it and they'll deal with it and they'll move on. But I mean, this is an interesting story that simply won't go away. The Venetian must also implement a comprehensive anti-money laundering training program, name a person to oversee it, and then undergo a review by the Nevada Gaming Commission board that they have properly implemented this comprehensive anti-money laundering program into their system. Yeah. Jimmy Football,